Hello guys and welcome to the latest episode of Mr. Ashodi's Snapshot Science. Now in today's episode we're going to be looking at reproduction. So hopefully by the end of this video you're able to state the differences between asexual and sexual reproduction. So let's get right into it. Now when we're talking about reproduction, we're talking about an organism gaining a new set of chromosomes from its parent or parents. Now what do we mean by the term chromosome? Chromosomes are essentially long threads of DNA which can be found in the nucleus. Don't forget we've already looked in chapter 2 at where the genetic information can be found. Now, chromosome contains sets of instructions, and these sets of instructions on the chromosome are known as genes. So, let's look at the first type of reproduction now, asexual reproduction. This involves just one parent, okay? The new organism is identical to that parent, and the parent cells divide by mitosis in order to make this new organism. So if the new organism is identical to its parent, it means that the new organism's genes are identical to the parent. Essentially, it is a clone of the parent. So why is this beneficial to some organisms? Okay? Because most plants, for example, will reproduce asexually with one parent. Okay? And this is really exploited by farmers and gardeners who often use this to their advantage. So for example, if they have a plant that reproduces quickly or efficiently, they will continue to do this via asexual reproduction. If they have a plant with good characteristics, so for example, it has good flavor, it's large, it has attractive flowers, even a nice smell, okay? If they get this plant to reproduce asexually, they can make more and more of that plant. Now, let's look at a different type of reproduction known as sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction involves the fusion of two gametes. Now, what is a gamete, I hear you say? Gametes are sex cells, and if we use the human gametes as an example, we will be talking about an egg cell, which is the female gamete, and the sperm cell, which is the male gamete. Now, when two gametes fuse in sexual reproduction, we look at the fusing of their nuclei. Okay, so that's what we're talking about, the fusion of their nuclei, and that is called fertilization. And this new cell now, which is the combination of the egg cell, for example, and the sperm cell, is known as the zygote. Okay, and this zygote will go on to divide and divide to eventually form a new organism. Now, what are gametes? Because we said gametes are sex cells. Now, sex cells are what we know as haploid cells. So every cell has a set number of chromosomes. A haploid cell is a cell that has only half the number of chromosomes, as usual. Okay? So for example, it's really important if you have the fusion of two gametes, the sperm cell and the egg cell. If the egg cell has half and the sperm cell has half of the chromosomes, when they fuse together, they will have a full set of chromosomes. And this is something we actually go into later on in chapter 18. So the fusion of two gametes will form a diploid cell. A diploid cell is a full set of chromosomes. So for example, human diploid cells contain 46 chromosomes, or 23 pairs of chromosomes. However, this number is exclusive to humans. If we look at, for example, a eucalyptus plant, a diploid cell in a eucalyptus plant will contain 22 chromosomes. So the haploid cell in a eucalyptus plant, don't forget we said haploid means half, will only contain 11 chromosomes each. So, how are gametes made, I hear you say? You've already looked at meiosis, where we have two stages of cell division. And that's how our gametes will be made. And meiosis is a chapter that we've already explored and looked at. So, many organisms have two different kinds of gametes. One gamete is often large and it often does not move. And this gamete that is large and does not move is the female gamete. Okay? So for example, in humans, the female gamete is the egg cell. And in plants, the female gamete is the nucleus, which is inside the ovule. Now, the other type of gamete is often smaller and usually moves around quite actively. And this gamete is actually in search of the female gamete. And this is the male gamete. So in humans, this gamete is known as the sperm cell, which goes in search of the egg cell. Okay? And in flowering plants, this male gamete is found inside the pollen grains. Okay? So this is what we find inside the pollen grains, which goes to fuse inside the ovule. Now, organisms often will either produce one type of gamete. So for example, the organism will either have a sex which is either male or female. All mammals, for example, are either male or female. But we have a unique example in many flowering plants, okay, and even in earthworms and slugs, for example, where certain organisms can produce both eggs and sperm cells, or both male gamete and female gamete. And these organisms that can produce both male and female gametes are known as hermaphrodites. Okay? And many flowering plants, as I said, and earthworms and slugs are hermaphrodites, where they can produce both gametes. Don't forget, key point, gametes are haploid cells, which is half the number of chromosomes. So, hopefully by the end of this video, you're able to state the difference between asexual and sexual reproduction. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and revise. Mr. Ashodi, signing out.